Coming to you live from my apartment. It's Rob Has a Podcast. And now here's the guy who, from now on, would like to be only known as Swaggy Rob C. I am Rob Cesternino. Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Night 2 of our Big Brother cast preview, BB20, kicking off 8 days from now, as we will see the night 1 of a 2-night premiere of the show as we get ready to talk about the Big Brother men here tonight. 8 guys that we're going to be talking about what we expect from them when they enter the Big Brother house, which probably will happen sometime in the next 24 hours. But for us, it will happen next Wednesday night, and we're going to talk about it all. First, with a man who is gearing up, getting ready for a long summer. Here is the great Taran Armstrong. Taran, how are you?
I'm fantastic, Rob. I'm Swaggy T right now. I'm ready for action.
Swaggy T,
yeah,
ready to go. Taran's had so many nicknames. We'll add another one to the list for Swaggy T. And joining us here for the first time in the Big Brother 20 preseason, Netflix's own Brent Wolgamott. Brent, how are you?
Hey, Rob, happy to be here, ready to cover Big Brother 20. I have to tell you, I watched your assessment last night for the girls with Melissa, Deni, and Taran, and I'm so excited about this cast. I really am. I'm getting flashbacks to Big Brother 15. There are a lot of recruits, and they're a little messy, and I'm here for it. I'm really on board with what's going to happen.
Taran, it's the most wonderful time of the year. Brent is excited. He comes into the season with so much optimism, so much hope. Cut to August 10th, and he's like, I'm over these people. That's it. They're all dead to me.
Yeah, you have to enjoy the optimism while it lasts.
I do. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Okay. All right. So we are here tonight. We're going to take your questions as well. Hashtag RHAP later on in the show. Last night we previewed the 8 women of Big Brother 20. That show is available on robhasawebsite.com. Of course, we say it here at the top of the season. You can subscribe to Rob Has a Podcast. Don't miss any of the live shows hosted by me when you subscribe robhasawebsite.com/iTunes, or for all things Big Brother, including Taran's daily live feed updates, the LFC Roundtable, and more, go to robhasawebsite.com/BB Podcast to subscribe to our Big Brother only feed. Or why not do both? I mean, hey, why not? You can also subscribe to our reality TV wrap-ups to get all the shows not hosted by me, if that's not too confusing. Everything's on robhasawebsite.com. Of course, you can also get your Big Brother live feeds when you go to robhasawebsite.com/live feeds for that. All right. So we're going to get into everything. Of course, Brent, did you have anything to add to the discussion from last night before we get into the guys?
No, I think that Rachel is pretty awesome. I love her. I am in love with Bailey as well. I'm hoping that she has some fire in her, that a little bit more than she showed in the interview with Ross. I do agree with Taran's assessment that Ross got better as the day went on, and thus I think that reflected a little bit through some of the contestants. Some of the people who were early on, like Tyler and Bailey, early on in Ross's interviews, I felt like they were a little bit closed off because I felt like Ross was a little bit closed off. And by the way, whoever put him in that jumpsuit needs to be fired. That was a terrible look. I don't know what they were thinking. And,
yeah, he was like, give me Al Davis, 1979.
Thank you very much. That's exactly what I was thinking of. I don't know why I didn't bring that up, but that definitely flashed through my mind.
Yeah. So the white, it was interesting, and the white jumpsuit also said like beast mode something. So I don't know if that was maybe given a gift for him by Caleb Reynolds.
It's possible, but it wasn't a good look. I know that.
Okay. All right. So let's now take a look at the men of the night. 8 men entering the Big Brother house. And let me also add, we talked about last night, Taran, about how maybe there was going to be some sort of they're talking about this high-tech reboot for Big Brother, and we played that commercial of Julie Chen talking about, hey, the house guests better be trending, or they could be, they could crash. And TV Guide ended up confirming today that that is not going to be the twist for Big Brother 20. We had at least some reporting on that.
Yes, which is gives me some hope. But they did also say the twist will be announced soon, we imagine. So
yes.
I mean, at least it's not opposite worlds, but we're going to get something.
Okay. Brent, do you have any thoughts on a potential twist based on what you've seen so far?
I mean, I was never really bothered by the social media thing. That seemed more like in the vein of care packages about, who's popular in the week. I mean, I think I've seen it was basically putting lipstick on a pig. I mean, we've seen it all before. So I wasn't bothered as bothered by it by other people. As other people were. However, I would take that over what any potential new twist is, because I feel like that generally speaking, when it comes to Big Brother, they always go in a worse direction, Taran. So,
yeah, it's
I'm
like
not feeling great.
Yeah, just when you think it couldn't get any worse.
Right. Okay. All right. So let's get into talking about our guys. And we talked about the hacking and could this be a part of the theme of the season? And we have our computer specialist, some say a hacker. Let's talk about Brett. And so, okay, here he is. He talked with Ross Matthews on Monday. Brent, I saw on Twitter that you ended up being pretty high on Brett.
I'm high on him because I was floored by his ability to be articulate and the vocabulary that he had. I mean, we're talking, probably 40th percentile vocabulary when you look at a cross section of Big Brother contestants throughout the years. And this guy was just, he was very verbose in how he talked. He didn't have a ton of personality, let me be clear. And there were many other contestants that I was way more on board for in terms of likability and entertainment and train wreckiness. I think they just sort of hit the jackpot in this guy in terms of, he's obviously a recruit. He was found through social media. He says that. And he's gorgeous and he's entirely well-spoken. In fact, I'm not even sure how Brett and Winston, who we'll get to at the end, both made it on the cast, because they seem to occupy the same spot as last year's Cody to me, Taran. So I think maybe Big Brother is doubling down a little bit.
All right, Taran, tell me, are you as impressed as Brent is, or is he booty blinded?
I think he's just as booty blinded as he was with Cody. I agree with the comparison. I did not have high hopes for Cody going into the season. I thought he might be the villain. I think we're looking at something similar here with Brett, where sure, if he is somehow the underdog, he will become some kind of hero. But I think we are looking at our typical kind of alpha that is going to be way too confident going into the house and is going to, do something very bad.
Now, let me be clear. I was just floored by his smarts and the way he presented himself. I'm not saying that I feel great about his long-term prospects. In fact, I felt like he came off a little bit smart-alecky in some of the way he answered some of Ross's questions. So I feel like early jury boot, which is ironically where Cody ended up last year, at best for Brett, but I don't feel great overall about his long-term prospects.
Yeah, I actually was not feeling Brett very much. I thought that coming in, I was going to be impressed with him, and I thought that we were going to build up so much about him, like, oh, he's, the cybersecurity engineer, but I just felt like he had like a good rap for casting about, not unlike Ryan in Big Brother Canada. I feel like he had like the analogy game down of Big Brother is like trying to discover a threat online. First, you have to identify the vulnerability. Then you have to deliver the payload. So it was like he had like this good metaphor, but I don't really get the sense that he really knows what he's doing, Taran.
Yeah. Taran, I think it's kind of weak sauce. He even says in his The Hollywood Reporter interview, he said, I was reached out to through social media. My background is unique. How many cybersecurity engineers have you met? So, I mean, he seems to acknowledge that he's in on the ploy here, that this is he's got a hook, basically. And everybody likes a hook when it comes to reality TV casting, because it's easy for you to put your nose on it and go, oh, well, I know who he is and what he represents on this television show that I'm watching.
Yeah. And let me give credit to Brian Pareca from The Hollywood Reporter, who he has his interviews up at this hour, and I'm sure we'll reference those to some degree.
Yeah, and they talked about how this is going to be a high-tech reboot of the show. Being a cybersecurity engineer fits in perfectly with that theme.
Yes. That being said, Brian had some interesting questions for the house guests. He asked Brett, do you know who Dan Giesling is, Taran?
No, he did not know who
He said, I have heard him referred to from the seasons that I've watched that he's just a strong competitor. Is that like it's just our 20th season?
Yeah, he's some kind of strong competitor. He's won some competitions or something. Something along those
Dan
lines.
needs to send a shady tweet with a Kanye gif out for this guy.
He needs to talk about how he gave Brett a call offering him advice, and he was just like, "Who are you? I don't. Okay, never mind."
It's even worse than that to me because I mean he doesn't know who Dan Giesling is, but he also doesn't know who Rachel Riley is, which that seems absolutely incompatible with anybody going on Big Brother that you don't know the woman who originated the phrase, floaters grab a life vest. I mean, that is iconic. And she has been all over TV. I know she hasn't been all over TV in the last couple of years, but I mean, he says his favorite players are Derek and Josh, or he likes Derek and Josh, and he thinks Paul did a great job. I mean, like it's clear they found you on social media. You've watched the last few seasons through a binge. And that's the best we got with this guy, and we're hoping for the best. I mean, it seems like there's a lot on the surface, but not a lot underneath, Taran.
Yeah, his two favorite players are the two winners of the 2 seasons that he has seen.
yes, he likes winners. Now, do we know exactly what his background is? That I know that he is a cyber security engineer. Does he work for the government? Do we suspect?
It sounded to me like he was like the Geek Squad or something at Best Buy.
Because he referred to himself as he is a patriot and that he's an American hero. So I felt like that he was trying to imply that he is like on the front lines of protecting us from disaster.
I mean, there's nothing in his bios unless he said anything with Ica. Which were just posted as we came on the air tonight about him being anything to do with like the Department of Defense or anything like that. So I have to think he's probably in something. Maybe it's something contractually where they're working with the Department of Defense. But I have to think it's probably private sector.
Okay. All right. So we'll see. Brent thought he could maybe have some Cody Nixon upside. Taran, do you see that potential for him?
I mean, if you want to call it upside, Cody did not do very well. I guess like the upside is maybe
he was loved by America,
right? Maybe he gets into a showmance and gets evicted twice, and then goes on to win the Amazing Race. Like he's got that upside, maybe.
Yeah.
That sounds shady to me. Come on. I feel like there's a little bit more to him than that. He's got more potential. He's certainly, look, I'll say this. He's a gentleman. He presents himself well. I think that many of the women in the house will be looking at him as a potential suitor. And I will say, just so you guys know where I'm coming from. And by the way, it's all the people saying, Brent just wanted to be on tonight because he likes to analyze the guys. I mean, give me a break. The last 3 seasons, I've done the women. I get it all the time. All in the chat room and all the people on Twitter, they're just making jokes about the fact that
Brent likes to analyze everybody, okay?
I wanted the guys seem more train wrecky, so that's why I wanted to come on tonight. And this guy was probably the least train wrecky of all of them. But because of that, I do think that he has potential with much of the house. I think he could be an alpha, and in the same way that Cody was. And remember, if not for that pendant or whatever the hell twist, Cody was leading that house up until then, and obviously was stopped by that twist. So I feel like there is potential for Brett.
Yeah. I think it's maybe a disservice to Cody to say that somebody could come in and do some of the things that really made Cody pop on the show,
right.
One season after the fact, just because he is, maybe kind of douchey and might be a little dry. Maybe all of a sudden he's going to be the new Cody. I don't know if I necessarily see it. They asked him, how do you respond to confrontation? This is from Brian's interview with him. I don't entertain the thought. I would just walk away. They'll look like the a-hole and I'll be the victim. Cody would never be the victim.
Yeah,
it's true. He also, he talked about making sure his breath smelled good for the ladies, which is not something I could hear Cody saying.
Yes, he doesn't want to have stank breath.
Yeah, he talked a little bit more down the line about the fact that he's a red-blooded American male. Basically, he's horny. That's what he's trying to say. I hate when guys, they're like, I'm a red-blooded American patriot. No, you're just horny. You're a pig. That's just like, own it. We know it. We can hear it.
He also said that he doesn't talk politics ever, which is also something that Cody does not adhere to.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So we'll see. I think he's an early boot. I don't see it working out for Brett. Okay. Can he win? Can you see a scenario, Taran, where he can win?
Yeah, sure. Like a very small possibility, but it's possible.
Yeah.
He has some upside. He is charming. When I watched his interview with Ross, I was like, this guy could be good. I'm interested to know how much Big Brother he knows. He clearly knows very little, so that's not good for him. He talked about how he's usually on people's radar, but he wants to make sure he stays off of people's radar in the house. So I don't expect him to do particularly well there. But like I said, he's got the tools. I just don't know if he knows how to put them together.
Yeah, and I'm afraid he comes off as entirely too clever for his own good. I think that I don't believe that he can win the game, because I feel like that's at some point along the way they're going to look at him, and he doesn't have the ability, it seems to me. And I know he was being totally honest with Ross, but he doesn't have the ability to turn off the smart aleckiness. And that's a problem for someone like him, because these other people in the house, half of them are idiots and the other half don't know that they're idiots. So someone like him who comes in and talks like he does and presents himself like he does, I think is going to be seen as very threatening. I think early on, people will gravitate to him because he's a safe spot and he's a target in front of them. But I don't think there's any way he can get to the end. So I vote no.
Okay. I will say that there is a scenario, there is a universe where he can win. I just don't think that we are living in that universe. So there's some people that like they have no chance. He has a slight chance, but I would bet against him. Could he be an all-star, Taran?
I think similar to Rachel, I think because he might fit the same kind of archetype as Cody, I feel like he's in a rough field. He's gonna have to really make an impression. So I'm gonna say no.
Okay.
Yeah, and I also am going to say no, mainly because I feel like not only are there other people occupying his lane on other seasons, but there is someone occupying his lane on his own season who we'll get to later on.
Yeah, I don't think he will do well or go far, but he will have like a 5-minute montage on night one where he's talking about, I'm a cybersecurity engineer. I've already analyzed all of the data, the people in the house. Like I know where the vulnerabilities are. I'm going to go after each person and put it, and they'll have like some sort of like a spy theme going on with the music. So he'll get airtime, but I don't think he will go far.
Yes, exactly. That's the juice that they are going to squeeze out of him, Rob. That's all they want.
And he's also he plans on lying about his profession. I think the one thing that just like truly sums up everything that you probably need to know about Brett is that one of the 3 adjectives he used to describe himself was trophy.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
Look, there is a very strong chance this guy is the modern day primetime Alex Stein.
Yeah.
Look, this could be a one and done for Brett. It's very possible, with all due respect to the late, great primetime Alex Stein. Okay, let's go to our contestant number 2 here tonight, our second man on the show, and we're going to talk about, let's call him Fessy. What do you think of that, Brent?
I think that's a good name because he goes by that himself. I thought it was a joke when because I was reading Twitter as I was like in and out of sleep, and I was watching some of these interviews and I fell asleep, and I looked on Twitter and I heard that Faisal likes to go by Fessy, and I'm like, oh, that can't be right. And because not only does it not sound like his real name to me, but it sounds well, I maybe I can get away with saying this. It sounds kind of like a sissy. Like, I mean, I don't know. Like, I wouldn't want to be known as Fessy because it sounds like Bessie. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, but I think when you're like, 6'6" and 200 pounds, I don't think you're worried about that.
Fessy. Okay, fine. Fessy. Fine.
The only thing I don't like about the nickname Fessy is that it gets rid of one of our A's in the Fay Bay Hey.
Yeah. That joke is already old and it's night 2. Okay, thank you.
It's old. Yes. Okay. So he's from Orlando. He was apparently in the mix to be on the show last season, he applied to be on Survivor. But they wanted him to be an alternate for Big Brother 19, Brent.
And he said no. He said he's not about that life. And then this year rolled around, and for everybody out there who's thinking of going on Big Brother, apparently, like, he thought finals were in April and May, and nobody called, and he thought, he didn't think anything of it. And then June, like, apparently, like a couple days ago, they hit him up, and they were like, "Come on out," and he was like, "Okay, I'm in." So that's how he's on Big Brother right now.
Yeah. Taran, he secretly loves Taylor Swift.
Yeah, secretly. I don't know why it's secretly. He's willing to be called Fessy, but apparently not willing to be called or to know people know that he likes Taylor Swift.
Yes, he listens to her while he works out.
I don't know how you could do that actually. I'm not like super familiar with Taylor Swift's music, but it's like country music, right? Like I got to listen to something like pretty fast when I'm working out.
Okay. Wow. I want to explore this more with you, Taran.
It's all about the post-hardcore when you're working out. You got to keep it fast and heavy.
Yeah. He wet the bed until age 10.
You know, that I didn't actually. Where did you read that?
That's
Was
fun
that
fact.
Reporter?
That's
okay.
No more fun fact than what age did you stop?
I must have missed that too. I see it now. It's in his CBS bio. I'm sorry. I was so taken aback by the Taylor Swift thing. Taran, go ahead.
Yeah,
sorry.
My favorite part about this fun fact is that he says he wet his bed until age 10, and the important part about this is that helped him become skilled at laundry at an early age.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Because it's just such a rarity. I mean, it's such a difficult skill to master laundry. So to be able to have been lucky enough to wet your bed until age 10, so you can learn that skill at such an early age.
Washing all the towels. Everybody will love him.
Yeah.
Fessy, why are you washing the sheets again today? Hey, dust mites. A lot of dust mites in this house. Yeah. He was interviewed by Ross and then talked about how he played college football, and that was good to help him get acclimated to a lot of different people. And he's a substitute teacher. He developed an app. Ross blew right over that, went to the next question. What do we think Fessy's app does, Brent?
I have to think it's to do with dating or finding women or, you know, like jocks and cheerleaders or something like that. I mean, there's
a dating app.
Yeah, a dating app. Yeah. Oh, wait, what did I say? Hooking up? I mean, well,
that's fine. So that's a category of apps. Taran, what do you think Fessy's app does?
I mean, it's probably something very simplistic. Maybe it tells you, it gives you step-by-step instructions on how to wash your wet sheets. It's something along those lines.
Yeah, I think it is an app that hooks up to your Fitbit, so it plays the right Taylor Swift tempo song to maximize your workout.
Yeah, I have to think it's either the Tinder-esque kind of thing, or it's to do with workout somehow, because anybody can put together some sort of Fitbit workout, sort of, high stepping routine, whatever. Why do you know people these days, Taran? Everybody has an app.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that expose the secret of that he's a Taylor Swift lover?
Yeah, that's a possibility. I don't know why. Again, I'm still stuck on the why is that a secret? Maybe it's because he's trying to present himself as a relatively tough guy, but I think Taylor Swift is fine. Like, I mean, she's not like Streisand or something where like all the gays like her or something. So, it seems perfectly hetero to me.
Well, also just in general, like, if this is like literally us getting to know you, and one of the first things you tell us about yourself is that here's one of my secrets actually, is that I listened. It's not secret if you're telling us as one of the first things that we're learning about you. You're not a secret Taylor Swift lover. You're just a Taylor Swift lover.
Mm-hmm. Okay, secret's out now. He also loves stuffed crust cheese pizza. Taran, I don't hear a lot of people talking about that.
Yeah, I feel like that was like 10 years ago.
It's over?
Right?
Yeah.
I haven't even seen that. God, that's terrible. Oh,
yeah. I wonder if he gets DiGiorno.
Ask Ian Terry. See, he has a dog named Cooper. He doesn't really want to showmance, but I kind of thought it sounded like he would showmance, Brent.
Yeah, look, when you're this age and you look like this, you're going to be open to a showman. So there's just no two ways about it. I thought his interview with Brian at the Hollywood Reporter was kind of funny because on the day that the cast came out, actually, Evil Dick released the cast the night before, we found out, Twitter is like amazing. They're like the FBI of all FBIs. They figure out everything.
They're like the Brett of cybersecurity.
I know, right? Like they found out this guy had an arrest record, which was, it was so benign. It was public intoxication and public indecency, which basically sounded to me like he was taking a whiz somewhere outside while he was drunk and the cops caught him or something.
He explained it in his interview.
But
in fairness, he is a known bedwetter, so I think he should have a note from his doctor if that's
what I was getting at, Taran, was he left out the public indecency thing in his explanation to Brian. So Brian tried to call him out about it, and then he sort of just talked over it and moved on to the next category. So
the story was that he got locked out of his friend's apartment or dorm or something and had to sleep it off in a car, and then was arrested.
Would you let a bedwetter sleep at your house, Taran, or would you lock him out?
But so I have to imagine this was a sort of a prank that was being pulled on him, right? He was naked outside the place, and they wouldn't let him in, right? And they forced him to sleep outside.
So how was he naked?
I don't know. They were streaking or something.
Right.
I don't know what these football players do. They get naked with each other, do things.
I just don't understand that part. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I mean, there people have done far worse. I've done far worse. So I mean, I don't care about stuff like this.
Worse in the Big Brother house.
I know, right? I care more about the fact that his explanation to Brian was actually sort of clever, because he didn't really answer the question that Brian was getting at, which is basically you've had an arrest record for being arrested for public indecency and public drunkenness. How did that happen? And he didn't even address the first part of the question. So I like that about him.
Okay. All right. Let's talk about Fessy. Can he win the game? Can lightning strike twice? Can we get two big guys from Florida, back-to-back winners? Brent.
Can he win the game? No, I think he is entirely too big. I mean, he identifies with Victor from 18, and I feel like he's probably going to play like Victor. He's probably going to win everything he can, become an early target. I don't think somebody like him is able to turn off the switch. I think, once they say go and you're mentally into it, I feel like he's going to want to win. He's going to want to show people that he's there to play. And I don't feel like that he's going to be able to advance anywhere near the end of the game, Taran.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, he did say that he thinks he was an alternate last season. He thinks that Josh was the person he was the alternate for. And I would have also said probably no to Josh. But I think it's even more of a firm no to Fessy because of what Brent mentioned, just his size. Not only is he large, but he's athletic. He was on American Ninja Warrior at one point. This is not.
This is the guy.
Yes,
okay.
This is not somebody that you're just going to let slide by because they're not threatening.
Yeah, Josh at least had nerd appeal. He had dork appeal. You know what I mean? There was an element to him that was very unthreatening. And maturity-wise, his maturity was such that I think really let you... you didn't worry about him as much because you felt like he was behaving like an 18-year-old most of the time. Whereas somebody with Fessy, I feel like he behaves like his age or even older. He behaves like a 30-year-old. He behaves like a sort of like an alpha, like a father figure in the house. And I wouldn't want to go up against him in a competition. So there's no way he's getting to the end.
Yeah, I don't see it. I like Fessy. I hope he goes far, but I don't see it. Could he be an all-star, though, Brent?
No, and I'm going to say that again, no, because he doesn't seem to have a ton of appeal to me in terms of, America latches onto certain things, and I know that the Big Brother can edit things a certain way, but just the way he talks in the interview, I didn't feel any excitement or warmth or fun coming at me from him. And, you sort of have that dead eyes thing going on with Cody last year, which was sort of, the complete 180 of people being energetic and fun in the diary room. But you can't be in the middle. You can't be Fancy Fencerton when it comes to your personality. And I feel like right now he is. So I don't think there's any way he's going to be an all-star.
Okay. All right. Taran, you on board with that?
Yeah, I feel like Victor, who's Devin. These are people. Josh himself. These are
Devin.
people
If only
yes.
Devin.
What did you guys think about Devin being spotted on the CBS lot the other day?
This was, who knows?
Going
They
to
could
watch
do
the
worse.
talk with Deni.
A lot of people got invited to the premiere.
Yes, not
So
everybody.
maybe they're hanging around.
Okay. All right. Let's go to our next person, and this should be an interesting one. Let's talk about J.C. Mondui.
I don't know how to pronounce his last name, and he didn't say it in the interview either.
Okay. Let's talk about JC. This should be interesting, Taran.
Yes, very interesting. He's a professional dancer. Heavy accent.
Yes.
And he's 4'8".
Yep.
Yeah, it's very important facts about him. That
yes. Brent, I saw you tweeted that he's friends with Jose, with the Messiah.
Yeah, Jose apparently knew him from way back in the day when they were both in Florida, and then Jose quickly tried to backtrack after some of the fans found out a few of the political leanings of JC, and Jose was all about, well, you know, we don't agree necessarily with our political beliefs, but he's a good guy, and you guys should root for him.
What, JC is very political, Brent?
He seems a little political. Yeah, it's come up in a couple different things. He's had some posts on social media that he supports the current administration, the president of the United States, Donald Trump. And I know that was disappointing to many of the fans who follow Big Brother. Not all. I want to remind everybody not to be too hard on him.
40% Trump of the needs people, to embrace JC.
Exactly. Just a reminder, 43% of the country did vote for the current president. So just keep that in mind, or I think maybe even a little bit higher. So there are a lot of people. My parents voted for the president. So not everybody who voted for the president is a bad person. And I don't want JC to get tagged with that just because he supports some of the policies of Donald Trump.
I don't know if the disclaimer is necessary. That
I don't know. Just people feel. Here's the thing. I feel like people are coming for him because he's a gay and he supports Trump, and I feel like that it runs a little bit deeper than that. He's also Cuban, and I feel like that Cubans, specifically from Florida, typically would vote for the Republican nominee over the Democratic nominee because they're harder on Cuba, which is a very personal thing to those people. So I just don't want him to be painted with too big of a brush, Rob.
JC is layered, Taran.
Yeah,
thank you.
Because he also talked on The Hollywood Reporter. He doesn't like religious people.
Yeah.
He finds them closed-minded.
Yeah.
Yeah. But he also, if you come from the South or if you're one of those crazy liberals, he's not going to agree with you either. So he's he's such an interesting person.
Karen, that's when my antenna went up when he was talking about the crazy liberals. And I'm like, you know, not that there aren't crazy liberals out there, but to just say that openly in an interview with no context, I feel like is inviting conflicts because you never know who you're talking to. I feel like if he says anything like that in the House, he's going to be in dire straits. I will say this, though, that I'm so glad that they cast this guy because this gives me hope, Taran. If they can cast this train wrecky of a guy with this much shit in his past, seriously, all the stuff that's come up about him, if they can cast him, honey, I got a shot. I got a shot.
JC is also, he's very open-minded. He is pro-human minion relationships as well.
For those
fascinating
never mind.
person.
Also pro-human Pokemon.
Yeah, you either get that or you don't, Brent. That's it.
Yeah, okay. It took me a while too. I had not seen anything, and people were tweeting me going, you know, he's very pro minion, and I thought they were talking about like minions of the president, or I had no idea what they were talking about because they were obviously upset about it, and I quickly got on board.
Yes, Taran, what else do you have to add about JC?
Well, he's also pro Pokemon, I believe.
Oh, yeah. Is there another video? Big
Pikachu fan.
Okay.
Yeah, he got dressed up as Pikachu, and like it was really odd. Odd is the word I can use.
So JC, he's a recruit. Does he have any idea what he is about to go do, Brent?
No, it doesn't seem like it. I can only say that he's going to be a ball of laughs and he's going to be fun. And he doesn't know anything about the fandom. He didn't know who Hamster Watch is. I don't think he knows many of the current players at all. They asked him what past Big Brother player you're like, and he's like Josh Martinez. What a surprise! You picked Josh Martinez out of anybody. He definitely seems to know how to play the type, though. I mean, I think he gets that people view him as like the sweet, cuddly guy who, you know, wouldn't hurt a fly. And that's certainly a stereotype of his, but I think he seems to understand that and hopefully can play to it. Having said that, I don't have any confidence in this guy whatsoever because at least Josh was a fan. Josh had seen seasons. He was a feeder. He watched the show.
A super fan. I mean, he watched it for the Canada.
Right, exactly. And this guy is like everything but that. So I don't even like the comparison, mainly because I I don't know. Like, I mean, this guy, he seems like every typical West Hollywood gay who comes from like the other part of the United States and like, moves to West Hollywood and just is living his best life out there right now. So go on, girl, get it, live your best life. But I mean, I don't know how he made it on Big Brother.
He said in his bio that he was nearly fired in the middle of a dance performance, and I really didn't understand that until I saw the other videos. But it now makes a little more sense to me.
Look, I don't know why he's here. It just seems like it's stunt casting where it's like, okay, let's put this funny guy. He's little in the house. He's like an acrobat. He'll be bouncing off the walls. He's crazy. But, should we put people in this house that like are trying to win the game? Like why not just find just random people and put them in there, see what happens?
I mean,
yeah. I mean, I guess I don't like him. I do like him.
What if we got somebody who was like an amazing juggler? Put them in the house. That'll be crazy. People will watch.
I don't know. I mean, like I said, I like him specifically, but I don't like him generally speaking because I do feel like he sort of fills this slot that Big Brother likes people to fill, which is sort of the it's a joke slot to me, Taran. I mean, I don't feel like you can take this person seriously, and they're just there to cause drama and call people out. And I mean, I guess that's the thing overall why I'm here for this cast is because I enjoy stuff like that. But as far as the game goes, I don't have any confidence in him whatsoever.
Yeah.
He does not seem to even understand what the show is. That Ross was asking him, sum it up. Tell everybody why they should root for you.
Get to understand all I'm saying by the end of the summer. And yeah, please root for me. And I promise we're going to have an amazing summer. Big Brother 20, representing.
Who is he telling to vote for him?
Watching Ross, if you watch Ross's eyes during that little speech, it was everything. I was just living for it. I don't know who he's talking to there. I think he's talking to America, I guess. But
I just don't. This person doesn't seem like they know the rules of the show.
Well, they're gonna know soon enough.
Yeah.
He'll figure it out. Who cares?
Yeah,
he's funny.
That's how they view it. I mean, Taran, I don't know about you, but at this point, we've covered like so many seasons now, and I mean, having watched the show since its infancy, I get why they put him on the show. I don't necessarily like it, but I get it, and I do feel like there is a small chance that I could fall in love with this guy once I see him on the show. But it's going to take a miracle.
It's going to take him being an underdog, which is likely. So
likely.
Yes. Oh, he will be America's favorite house guest. Also, by the way.
Yeah.
He'll be collecting his $25,000 on finale night when he sits in the final two and loses 7-0 or whatever, however many jury votes there are.
Yeah, I know.
I genuinely I'm not even like making a joke about this. I genuinely did not understand in his bio when he said he has a short fuse when it comes to his height. Like, did he mean to do that? Because it seemed like he was trying to tell us that he genuinely gets angry when people make fun of his height. But why then use the term short fuse?
Yeah, I feel like that was like, I mean, because he puts it all over his Instagram and his social media, the fact that he is a small guy, as he says, and his height varies anywhere from 5'1" if he's on a modeling site to 4'8" if he's telling you the truth. And I think he like, it's sort of like a badge of honor to him. Like, it sets him apart from the other hot guys in that he's sort of, interesting. There's a hook to this guy where, you can pick up any random gay muscle boy in Hollywood and, put them on the show, but at least this guy has a hook. So that's, I think, where casting's coming from.
Yeah, it's also possible that English may not be his first language, and he may not, pick up on the pun there right off the bat.
That's true. Yeah.
He was also very handsy with both Ross and Marissa. I saw when he was talking to Marissa. He's very handsy.
He can probably get away with it. I think he'll be okay.
Okay. All right. He hopes he gets his hoverboard also.
Yeah, well, what was that? I had no idea what that was.
Well, it seems
A
like he can do
hoverboard?
like a lot of tricks on bicycles and
Okay.
but he's not going to have a unicycle to ride around the house. So I don't know necessarily what's the point.
Unless he's going to be like the house pet, I don't think that that's going to work for him.
Like he'll do a backflip into the pool.
Yeah. Until Big Brother calls him out and tells him to stop doing that. Yeah. Okay.
All right. That's JC. We know he cannot win, but could you see him being back again, Taran?
You know what? No, actually, I'm gonna say no. I don't think so.
Yeah, it's kind of amazing. I love this cast, and yet again, I'm going to say no. I don't think he can win, and I don't think that he'll be brought back either. So we're off to a rousing start, Rob.
I think he's going to be in the house the whole summer. He will be there till finale night.
All right, we'll
Mark
see.
my words. He will either final 2 or final 3. That he will be right there. He will not unless he's just so ill-tempered that that he's just fighting with everybody.
I think he can be a little bit extra. And I don't think that these guys are going to stand for that. I think that he needs to watch himself in the first few weeks of the show, and he could be an early pre-jury boot.
Well, I will say this. I expect him to be the first HOH. It's usually some kind of endurance competition, and I think he's winning any endurance competition. I think that the height is a major advantage in those, and he is not only short, but he is also very, very fit. So I expect him to do very well in any endurance comp.
Okay. All right. Let's go to guy number 4, and let's talk about Scotty Sultan. Scotty with 2 T's. He ships things for a living, and he's here to play in Big Brother, the 26-year-old virgin, but he is not our virgin king. That will always be Scott Dennis.
Not only is he not our Virgin King, he hates the Virgin King.
I know, right? What was that?
Least favorite player of all time.
Yeah, because he felt like he stole his spot.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
God, that was good times. Good times, Taran.
They were joined by their Virgin King.
You are the Virgin Court Jester, sir.
It makes more sense in context, Taran, where you're like he stole his spot. So because he likes Alex and Morgan, and like Alex and Morgan, when the cast was leaked on Twitter, they immediately were like, look, if the rumors are true, we know this guy. They had a picture of him, and they've kept in contact since Big Brother OTT. He was an alternate for Big Brother OTT, and so they knew who he was, and he was apparently lying to Alex. Up until like last week when she was like, are you going to be at the premiere party? And he said, I wanted to tell her, yeah, I'll be there, but on your TV, but he couldn't tell her. And here he is.
Wait, how does he know them?
Wait, I'm sorry. I was talking about
You're talking
Tyler.
about Tyler.
I'm sorry. Yeah,
Yes.
I'm sorry. I got mixed up. I was talking about Tyler. We got on the Virgin King, and then I got onto Alex, and then I went to Tyler. So I'm sorry. We're talking about Scotty. Sorry.
No problem. I'm
with you now.
Okay.
The chat room was like, what? I saw some people going, what the hell, Brent? Fake news, Brent. Yeah, I got it. Everybody can make a mistake. Don't know.
Taran, I did like Scotty in his interview with Ross. I thought he was pretty well prepared.
Yeah, I actually I was expecting to not like him at all.
Thank you.
But I was very impressed with his interview. I thought he was very self-aware. He called himself the dud of the season.
Dud.
I literally, like I said, I was streaming on Twitch my reactions to these interviews, and I was literally in the middle of saying, these questions, why should America root for you? I'd be like, well, don't. I don't care. Like, you're going to do what you're going to do. And then he went and basically said exactly what I would have said with the why should America root for you, which I really appreciated. Also, he mentions in his bio that he loves Evil Dick. Evil Dick is his favorite person. And then in the Hollywood Reporter interview, they're like, so why is Evil Dick your favorite player? And he's like, he's not. I lied. I figured that it'll help get me cast. Chicken George is my favorite.
But then he said he didn't watch season 1. I don't understand how you can be a fan of
maybe he
Chicken
loves it
George.
from All Stars.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, but you had to watch season 1.
Yeah.
Well,
It's interesting with the Evil Dick thing because he said which Big Brother cast member you like the most? He says currently Evil Dick. But that word currently takes on a whole different connotation.
Yeah.
When we find out that he's lying,
Lies,
casting.
lies, and deception.
Total lie. I love it. I think it's great. He knows what he's talking about. Like, he's watched every season except for season 1, which is perfectly acceptable, even if Chicken George is your favorite. He is. I don't think he comes off as your usual nerdy super fan type.
Yeah.
I don't know about that. I mean, I feel like he does come off as that, but he's very well articulate. He's articulate, and he presents himself well in one-on-one conversations with Ross, and obviously in the text interview that we saw with Brian, he sounds pretty fun. And I was with you, Taran, that I was not in the mood for this guy. Basically, this is the same, archetype that's played out for me, and I really don't want to root for somebody like this, but he won me over. I don't know if I'll eventually root for him, but at least I'm not anti-Scotty going into the house.
Yeah,
I really enjoyed him talking about, like, he was asked about showmances, and he was like, if there's a girl in that house that's coming on to me with my voice, I'm going to be suspicious. Like, whoa, something is up here. This is not okay. Something's wrong.
Yeah. He is up for roasting people as well. So he should be fun in the diary room. He wants to win one of the first 2 HOHs, Brent.
Yeah, it's not a bad scenario, actually. I know that so many people say that they don't want to win the first HOH, but I feel like we've entered a new Big Brother. I mean, I know Cody obviously was evicted last year after winning, but Paul was the second HOH, and he ended up going all the way to the end of the game. I do feel like you want to earn some purchase with the house guests early on. It gives you an opportunity to set the game the way that you want to play it. At least try to set the game board up early on and make a move and make an alliance from there, and have people coming to you and revealing things very early in the game that they might want to keep secret. I mean, I feel like those secrets will eventually seep out by like week 4, week 5, but they're valuable to you if you can find out something that's interesting in the first week or 2. So I'm on board with that strategy, actually.
Taran, last summer I said going in that either Cameron or Ross, either Cameron or Ramsey was going to have to pay the invoice of the, Steve's and Ian's and anybody else who came across nerdy that went on to do well. Has the invoice been paid enough to the point where Scotty can get under the radar?
I think so. I definitely think so. Most of these people watched 16, 19. They saw Derek. They saw Paul. There's even a couple of Dan fans. Very few people even know much about Ian or Steve.
Right.
So I don't think they're looking out for that archetype.
I didn't even think I saw those names come up very often. I mean, I don't think Ian or anybody like that was brought up. Certainly not like Steve Moses or anything like that. So I feel like that he should be pretty safe. But if he is ostracized early on, and I'll say this, he seems to sort of play into that. Like, hey, I know what token I'm taking up in this cast. I'm the funny, nerdy guy who's sort of on the outside. And if he can play into that, it might earn him some empathy within the house and some likability, but I am nervous for him. I feel like a player like this early on is the most dangerous time for him. So again, I'm on board with the whole winning an HOH early strategy because I feel like he might need it.
Yep. If there is a night 1 eviction, that Scotty is definitely going to be in the crosshairs. So I think we're all on the same page. He can win this game, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Does he have all-star potential, Brent?
I mean, I don't know. I have to see more. So at the moment, I'm going to say currently I'm going to say no.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah.
I'm also going to say no. Again, I feel like there are others. I think Ian is going to come back at some point. I'm going to say no.
Yeah. I feel like he has a little bit of Johnny Mac in him, a little bit more of, not all the way Steve, some Johnny Mac. So I think he could be fun to watch, but I'll say crowded field for Scotty to come back as our all-star nerd.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree.
All right. Let's talk about our next contestant. He is an undercover police officer from Jersey.
It's Steve. Oh my God, an undercover cop, Taran.
He's
What
a
an
professor. No, you're the mechanic.
Yeah. He's a mechanic. You guys saw, if you listened to our initial reaction podcast, my initial reaction to Steve was, this guy thinks he's going to be able to be Derek. He's not. He's older than Derek. He does not have the same ability to blend in with these younger people. Then when I saw his interview with Ross, I was like, he's actually pretty well spoken. He seems like pretty, he as lovable as Kevin was, he's a little more involved in the conversation. His head is not quite as in the clouds as Kevin's was. But then he talked about pretending to be a mechanic, and I was just like, that just does not seem like it's going to work to me.
Yeah, that Ross Matthews tried to call him out on being a mechanic. Not going to get one over on Steve.
I work.
What kind of engine goes in a whatever? Are you prepared to answer this question?
Absolutely. So what are we talking? A V4, V6, V8, V10, V12? Are we talking, what are you talking about? A tranny, a tune-up? You want to take pads? Do you have drum brakes?
I believe it.
What are we talking about here? What are we talking about?
V4, V6,
V2,
V8,
V4,
V10,
V6,
V12.
V10, V12, V14,
14,
V16,
16, 18, 20.
V18, V20.
This is insanity.
28, 22, here 24, 24, 26, here's 28.
He is not going to be able to hide the fact that he's a cop, mainly because of what Taran has noted, which is that these castmates have only watched 16 and 19 primarily.
Oh, that guy, that's the undercover cop.
Their ears are going to be tuned up to the fact that there's a Derek in their cast. And not only that, Taran, but I wasn't as impressed by his interview with Ross as you were, because he talks like a cop. He says, sir, and like he's polite, like he talks like cops do when they're in front of a judge, or when they're talking to a lawyer, or when they're talking to a potential suspect, or when they're talking to a witness. I mean, there's no way in the world that anybody's going to buy he's a mechanic. Really? They cast a mechanic on Big Brother at 40 years old. I mean, there's no way. And he's older than Derek. Derek at least looked like Trade, he looked like he was part of that crowd, the hetero boys who were kind of, you know what I mean. Anyway, he can fit in, is what I'm trying to say. He can fit in. This guy cannot fit in.
And for the record, the reason why he is going to not only lie about being a former undercover cop, but the reason he's going to lie about also being a professor now, a tenured professor, is that there was also a professor that won. So that ruined professors.
Who was that, Andy?
Andy. He's talking about Andy. Like, people are going to compare him.
He thinks people remember Andy?
Yeah, exactly. Not only do people not know who Andy is on this season, but the two people that do know who Andy is, I bet you neither of them know that he was a professor.
Yeah.
That's not what I think of. Honestly, I had forgotten that Andy was technically a professor. I always think of him like speech and debate.
We forgot that.
Yeah, I know, right? This is insanity. I think he would be much better off just owning it. Hey, you know what? I am the undercover cop, but I mean, like, I'm old, man. I mean, I'm not like Derek. I mean, I
come in and say, no, I was a regular cop.
Or something like that. Yeah. Anything would be better than what he's trying to do. He's going to, again, the thing about a lie on Big Brother is that you have to keep it up all year long. This is a 90+ day season. And I mean, Derek did it, but that was by far the exception, Taran.
Yeah, and there were people that suspected that Derek was a cop. Like, he did it, but there were some close calls, and if other people had stayed in the game a little longer, then who knows? I mean, at some point he got just very cocky and he started talking about undercover cops. But yeah, like I feel like he could have just gone in saying, "I'm a professor." He could have been the dad teacher archetype, and there would have been people that were like, "Oh, was he a cop? Maybe is he a cop?" It wouldn't have mattered as much, but saying mechanic, it's like saying you're a construction worker. It's just going to come off super shady, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I think for it to work out for Steve, I think he has to be able to really, fit in with the group and hang out with everybody. And even like look at Kevin last summer, where Kevin was the older guy, but he adapted and he was able to sort of, do the kinds of things that the other people in the house were doing. And sure, if he goes to bed early, I guess that's fine. But I just don't see Steve fitting in with, a bunch of, 25-year-old kids hanging out by the pool.
Yeah, and he got a little bit unlucky too, in that this is a particularly young cast. I mean, he's the oldest person on here, right, at 40 years old, and and not only that, he carries himself even a little bit older than 40 years old. Like I don't think he recognizes that. He may still see himself as somebody who can fit in with the younger crowd, but I don't think that's apparent to me. I feel like he's going to be the thing. The thing is, Taran, that once he goes in the house and starts lying about his occupation, then that becomes the thing with him, where, you know, people are constantly talking, is he lying? Is he really an undercover cop? No, I'm really a mechanic. And every day it's the same old thing, until finally they break him down, in which case they expose him as a liar, or he keeps lying to them, in which case the scenario just keeps going on. The only way that someone like this can succeed in the game is if they earn trust with their housemates. Kevin was able to do that last year because everyone saw him as sort of the doddering old man who, you know, of course you can take what Kevin says to the bank. I know later on in the game they started to doubt him, but early on, no one thought that Kevin could lie. And Steve, on the other hand, I feel like it's just going to be a constant, you know, this guy is shady, and, you know, what's he up to? If he's lying about this, is he lying about something else? Is he America's player? Is he America's team? I just hate the whole idea. And the really depressing part is that he's a fan of the show. His wife is the super fan, and he is the one who ended up getting cast, and he could win. I feel like there's a place for him where he could get to the end of the game if he knew how to play his cards right, but he's being entirely too cute about it.
Yeah. So we have Bobby in the chat, who is, when you talk about, well, what else is Steve lying about here? That Bobby is a Steve truther, and says also he's definitely not 40. He has a kid who's 27, and he's not 40. He's 49.
Called it. Did I not call that? Yeah, he
graduated high school in 1996.
He read as 50 to me. I'm just putting that out there. So no shade at him, but I mean, I called that a mile away.
I watched the Marissa Facebook thing, and she, after her interview with him, she talked about, like, he should say he's older than 40 because like that could work for him. Like, so maybe it's not a typo. Maybe he's genuinely lying about it. I don't know. I think he's lying about the things that he shouldn't be lying about, and he is not lying about the things that he should be lying about. So come on, like this is a mess.
Listen, look, this is gonna go his way. You know why?
3.5 months from now, I'm going home with a paycheck for $500,000 for my kids. Summer of Steve 2018.
Summer of Steve. It's happening, Taran. Summer of Steve.
I'm sorry, but Caitlin already manifested it. It's not happening, Steve.
Summer of Steve 2018.
Summer of Steve 2018.
He's very good with hashtags, clearly.
Summer of Steve 2018.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, chat room is like, I like this guy. I like this guy too. I think he could be very fun, but I think that he's just going about his business all wrong.
Summer of Steve 2018.
I also like him a lot. It's just being the person who is outside of the age range of the rest of the cast is never a good thing, and there's lots to pick apart here with all of this mechanic stuff.
Yeah, I don't like this. I'm agreeing with Taran entirely too much, Rob. We need to find some disagreement here.
Mel Weiss in the chat. Remember when Alex Al thought Kevin was an undercover cop? LOL. Remember he knew Derek?
Yes. And how long did that go on? And that wasn't even real. How long do you think this guy's gonna go? It's
Summer of Steve 2018.
I mean, yeah, it's gonna be the Summer of Steve. All right. Yeah.
Oh, Summer of Steve. I can't wait.
I'm surprised he didn't go in saying, I also got to lie about my name. There was already a Steve that was a winner. You can't call myself Steve.
Wait until you see Summer of Steve. This is going to be like a finely tuned engine, V2, V4, V6, V8, V10, V12, V14, V16. What do you want?
Steve 2018.
I will say though that I wasn't really buying the whole, and I know you alluded to this, the whole mechanic thing. Like, I don't know if he's really thought that out. I mean, I know he can rattle off a couple of numbers here and there, but I don't know if he really. I mean, there's a couple of really hetero guys in here who probably know their way around cars. I feel like he's probably going to have to talk a little bit about it if he wants to get this lie through. And I don't know if he knows enough about mechanics.
Let me see. What kind of car is that? What is that? A gas car? An electric car, gas car. What is it? Solar car?
Yeah, also like
Four-wheeler, six-wheeler, eight-wheeler.
he has to talk about how like it's 40 years of being a mechanic. It's not just like I can act a mechanic right now. It's like, well, when did you start? Did you own your own mechanic place? Like I was interested in that. My dad did that. Or like my mechanic is like what was it like starting the business? Like there's all kinds of questions that he probably isn't ready for.
Every part of your life when you do something like that. That's why I'm so down on this.
Okay. All right. So can Steve win? Could you see the universe, Taran, where Steve can win?
I don't. I like
Summer
him, but
Steve, 2018.
It'll be the summer of Steve 2018, but not the summer of Steve winning Big Brother 2018.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that there's a chance that he could go far if people have other fish to fry and they eventually forget about him and he's eventually seen, like Kevin was, as too pathetic to get rid of and they decide to get rid of other people. But I don't, if he does eventually occupy that spot, then they're going to want to get rid of him at 5, 4, or 3. So no, I don't think he can win the game.
Okay. Let's check in with the chat. V12, WTF is he driving? It's a good point from Mike King. Could have had a V8. I know nothing about cars, but are there V10s and V12s in normal cars? That we don't know. So he's got us fooled. We don't know.
Right? Yeah, but all it takes is one person who does know. That's the problem.
I do like the abbreviation, the hashtag SOS 2018. Because I feel like
right, I didn't understand that.
That could have some double meaning later on in the season.
Okay. All right. Let's keep moving along here. It's obvious. Yes, Steve will be an all-star. Let's talk about Swaggy C. Don't call me Chris. Call me Swaggy C.
Yes.
He's the only person who will be coming into the house wearing a T-shirt that says Swaggy C.
It's a very distinct thing there. Yeah, he says he went through a bad breakup about 5 years ago and just started calling himself Swaggy C because there was a basketball player called Swaggy P, and he changed his whole look and it just caught on. And he also insists that everybody uses it, which is, I imagine, how it caught on.
That must have been one hell of a breakup,
right? That's what Ika said.
Like, I'm not Chris anymore. I'm Swaggy C. Like, what? Yeah. Chris, what's wrong? Chris, what's the matter? You're taking this breakup very hard. Swaggy C.
And they're friends now. Still friends.
Who? So. Swaggy C and Swaggy P?
And the girlfriend that inspired it.
The girl who inspired the Swaggy C in the first place.
Worked.
Look, I was actually kind of into this guy, and early on in the interview, he seemed like he really wasn't there for it. Like he seemed like he would rather be any place but Big Brother, the Big Brother diary room. But after listening to a little bit more of the interview and then reading what Brian had on the Hollywood Reporter site, the fact that he even knows who Hamster Watch and Big Brother Leak are is positive to me. And then I got a note from somebody, and I don't know the veracity of this. I don't know why anybody would lie to me about this, but this is what somebody who DM'd me on Twitter said. Hey, I just wanted to say before your assessment about Swaggy C, he's best friends with one of my friends from high school, and I've met him a few times. He played college basketball. He's actually pretty smart and is a super nice guy. He has done Wild in and out, and I wanted to move back to LA. So I think he's trying to do the acting thing, hence wanting to lose the game and be loved by America. But I think he is a lot less of a joke than you might initially think. And so that combined with my assessment of him after reading about him on the Hollywood Reporter, I feel moderately positive about him.
Other than Swaggy C, does anything else about him come across as a joke?
No. Taran, he's a fan of Paul. And he thinks he got robbed.
He thinks Paul was robbed of $1 million. He thinks we talked about this better than every single winner except for like 5 of them. He's also a big Shannon fan. Also loves Vanessa and Evil Dick. He has been watching since season 8. So that is when he got into the show. So he is going to be one of the more knowledgeable people about the game, which is definitely a good thing. He hates the beach, which I appreciate as well.
I appreciate that as well. He knew who Ian was, and they asked him the worst move ever made on the show, and he said it was Lawan with his magic powers.
That's fair. That should be up there. I don't think it's the worst move ever because I don't think Lawan was winning, but I think that's in the conversation.
Well, I mean, just that he knows who Lawan is, I felt moderately positive about. Yeah, exactly. And then he's got some life experience too. He talked a little bit more in the Hollywood Reporter interview that he's seen some people die. He's been robbed before. He's been tied up. So I mean, I think this is going to be a cakewalk for him, or so he thinks.
Wow.
Yes. He also answered, do you have a strategy? He said, of course, in his bio.
I like that.
And then
give it to him.
Classic Swaggy C.
And you think like, oh, that what a witty response. But then in every single subsequent interview, he has laid out his strategy, which is win the first HOH, make jury, make finals, win the game. That's his strategy.
Boom. I mean, there really is no good answer to what's your strategy on Big Brother. There's nothing that question. Yeah, there's no way you can answer that.
I hear what you're saying, but the way that he says it is like he is genuinely explaining. No. This is the great This is what I've conjured up here. I've got this. I've got the strategy down pat. Like he is not making some kind of commentary on the question.
Yeah, Taran brings up a good point because he does say, like when they ask him, what are you going to do? He said, I got a big strategy. I'm going to win the first HOH, and then week 2 or 3, I'm going to let everybody else fight it out while I'm in the background chilling. So, that sounds pretty like, I think there are a few other people in this cast who have that idea as well.
Yeah. Taran, there's one thing he said that I thought did cause some alarm for me, that he talked about how he's going to be very confrontational and he's going to call people out on anything.
Mm-hmm. Yes. He was. I was able to watch one, and not the entire thing, but one of the Ica interviews before we started this podcast. And Swaggy was the one that I watched, and they did like a mock fight between Swaggy and Ica, and he stood his ground. Like he was he was able to like be confrontational with Ica, which I think says a lot about his potential to be confrontational in the house.
Brent, can you be that Swaggy in the house?
Huh?
Can you be that Swaggy in the house?
I think that certain people can. Certain people can if they can fall into the archetype amongst the house guests of, oh, that's just his way, or that's just how he is. Sort of like Josh did last year, where he does the pots and pans and he gets all riled up and crying all the time, and yet people eventually just write it off. If anybody else behaved like that, they would probably take them to task. But because it was Josh, they're like, oh, that's just Josh, and that's his way. So I feel like that this guy, he might be able to get away with it. He also notes that he has a photographic memory. That's amazing how many people in this cast have a photographic memory. But he knows how things work. I mean, he has a basic working understanding of the game. That combined with the fact that he seems relatively charismatic and fun. Look, I'm on board with the fact that he's branding himself. I know that people are over the fact that he's calling himself Swaggy C instead of Chris. But I mean, Chris is so boring. I mean, I would much rather
Chris
talk
Williams.
about Swaggy C. Yeah, like come on, is that his last name, Williams?
Yeah.
Oh wow, that's even worse. Yeah, I'm on board.
On board with Swaggy C. It's hard to shake a nickname because that I had some pictures taken of me. I too went to the beach once, and there were pictures taken of me without a shirt on, and then I was dubbed Saggy C, and I have not been able to shake that nickname either.
Yeah, you got to be careful of that, Rob. He's also a battle rapper.
Yes, I've heard.
Yes, his rap name is Slave, I believe.
Yes. Who would win in a rap battle, Swaggy C or Chris Noble?
Oh, Swaggy C in a heartbeat. Come on.
Definitely.
Stop rapping. Put the mic down.
Swaggy C was a battle rapper. Do you want to play it? Is this a cop that let's see. Jay Scott versus Slave. Well, who's is Swaggy
Slave.
C? He's Slave?
Yeah.
That's not a great nickname. I'm trying to find. It's 22 minutes long. Okay, well, we'll see if we can get the clip. We'll play it at some point.
Yeah, we'll show it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I prefer Swaggy C.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Shadman was saying it's not PC.
Yeah, I'm sure the producers also preferred Swaggy C.
Yeah. What do you want to put on the T-shirt? Now let's go with. Do you have another name?
Yeah.
So how about Swaggy C?
A lot of people are curious about his eyebrow.
Yeah,
that
that's
half of it is
interesting.
shaved.
Half his eyebrow is cut off, and I was thinking about maybe doing that because I feel like that might give me a little bit more of an edge, Brent.
Well, the funny part is the drag queens do that on RuPaul's Drag Race. Like Aquaria notoriously shaves off both of the ends of her eyebrows so that she can draw better. Yeah, exactly. So I'm used to that. That wasn't a big deal for me.
I'm gonna ask Nicole what she thinks about this because I feel like that. I think it looks tough.
I feel like if
this guy's a little crazy. He shaved his eyebrow off. Why did he do that?
Like if there was a line in the eyebrow and then the rest of it continued, I feel like that's.
Oh, you like that?
I like that.
Let's all do that. Let's all do that. That'll be like solidarity.
Okay.
You too, Scott St. Pierre. Okay.
Yeah.
What else about Swag? You see anything?
He said he couldn't work with somebody like Cody. He would just not be able to handle it.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, I got news for him. There's a couple of Cody-esque people in the cast this year. So
yeah. He also said he would pride himself on not being a bitter juror. Remember, he thinks Paul was robbed twice. However, if he gets backdoored, he's never going to vote for the person with backdoors.
Right. Yeah.
That's how Swaggy rolls.
Yeah.
Okay. Also, RJ in the chat says I need to consult my life coach before I make that eyebrow move. So I gotta wait. Gotta wait to see how that
Get
goes.
some sage
All right.
involved.
Could Swaggy C win? No reason why he can't, right?
He can win. In fact, I really like him. Yeah, I think he's charismatic and fun. I think as long as he doesn't get too hot, he can't get too hot. Then I feel like he can get far in the game.
Yeah. Taran, he's a day trader, so he could really clean up on the LFC stock watch.
It's true. You got to invest in the day trader.
I forgot that about him.
He'll beat you guys.
Yeah, I feel like that's no joke. Like, I mean, I feel like that this guy has some smarts to him. As long as he knows when to be hot and bothered and when not to be, I feel like he'll be okay. And he's obviously a really charming guy. I think that he could have a showmance with any of the ladies in the house. And I'm here. I'm on board for Swaggy.
Yeah, and it should be noted he's never watched
Angie Rockstar, Brent.
Did you see? I have Angie Rockstar behind me. Did you notice?
Brent is pointing to a poster of Dame Edna.
Dame Edna. I saw Angie Rockstar and I immediately thought of this poster. It has to be her.
There you go.
Yeah.
Is that the twist this season?
Oh God. Yeah, right.
He has never watched the live feeds, but he does keep up with spoilers on Twitter. So he knows what goes on the live feeds.
Yeah. Okay.
It's important to know.
Yeah, he sounds like my sister. Like my sister doesn't watch the live feeds, but she follows Joker's updates. She follows Twitter. She knows what's going on in the house at any given time. She'll listen to the Taran updates in the morning, occasionally, but not always. That kind of level of fandom. I think we'll do very well in the house.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Let's go and talk to somebody who was a little bit surprised that he was a super fan. Here is Tyler. Tyler is way into Big Brother. Tyler Crispin, Taran.
Yes, very excited to hear that he was a super fan. He talked about he is a live feeder. He is I think probably the only person on the entire cast that is watching the live feeds. So that's very promising, especially because you would never know it just by looking at him. Right. And so it should be easy for him to hide this fact as long as he wants to.
Yeah, and he is very aware of the fact that he could fall easily into the dumb surfer guy, i.e. David Gurton, who gets booted, or the Jace, or whoever. So he's very aware of that, and I like that about him.
Yeah, I totally forgot about the other Jace.
I know, right? Yeah, that one. Exactly. And this guy hasn't. He remembers him.
Yeah, a lot of people are talking about how he looks like Frank, like Tim, like these people. But I just watched the show Trust, and he looks just like the guy, the kid from Trust. I'm telling you.
All I know is that is the best hair I have ever seen on a Big Brother contestant. I mean, and not only that, like in the picture, but then in the interview with Ross, it was just a flowing lock mane. Like it was like a lion, Taran. It was a lion. I'm telling you.
A lion. I'm very high on Tyler. He talked about how Dan is like the god of Big Brother, and Ika is the queen. So he's also a Big Brother Canada watcher. He wants to be very low key. He just wants people to like him. He's gonna, as Brent mentioned, play this sort of dumb surfery kind of bro role, which should be very easy. I think it's really great for him that there are a bunch of big beefy dudes in the house that will take some heat off of him for being athletic. I think he probably knows when to not win competitions. I feel very good about Tyler.
Yeah, this is the guy that I was talking about, Rob. This is the guy that was friends with Alex
So how does he know the Willett sisters?
So he was an alternate for Big Brother OTT. It wasn't Scotty. It was this guy. Somehow I made my way from Scotty to Scott and then eventually got onto the Willett sisters and Tyler. So Tyler was an alternate for Big Brother Over the Top, and he eventually hooked back up with the Willett sisters once they were, well, one of them was evicted. Alex was evicted. And they had some pictures with him from Texas when they got together after the show and Morgan had won. And, he's on this season. So I know that Alex was on board with it. And I'm on board with it as well. I was very taken with the way that he presented himself. And ironically, he was the first interview with Ross. And even though I felt that there were times in the interview that were a little bit awkward, I still felt great overall about Tyler's prospects in the game because he's a fan of the show and he knows what he's doing. He seemed to have an understanding of what works and what doesn't. The fact that he knew who Ika was obviously was a godsend for me. He talks about Zach Rance and Derek Levasseur. Of course, I know everybody talks about Derek, but he talked about him in a different way. I just feel like there's a reverence that this guy has for the game itself that makes me feel very positive about him overall.
Yeah, it's really a best case scenario for him where he is a guy who is somebody who is non-threatening. He sort of gives off like a Seabass vibe where he's like, oh, he's just the dumb surfer guy, but he knows the show particularly well, maybe better than, almost anybody else in the cast, maybe outside of a Scotty. And so you feel like that is a very dangerous combination where he can sort of be under the radar, go with the flow, not make people too suspicious of him, and then also be able to know what he's doing and what's in store for the rest of the game.
Yeah, he could be like a Survivor Devin. I could really see that kind of upside for him from Heroes, Healers, Hustlers. And I mean, even like his strategy, he said he wants to work with somebody who's the opposite of him, cut them at Final Four, and take credit for everything that they did. Obviously, it's very unlikely that exact scenario can take place, but I love the thought process behind it. I feel very, very good about him.
You know who he reminds me of, Taran? He reminds me of the guy from American Ninja Warrior who's like from Hawaii, the blonde guy. Yeah. Like, I mean, like, I don't know why. The best thing about Tyler, and I hope he can keep this up, is that if he can continue to sound dumb, and he's not dumb, but if he can continue to sound dumb in the house, I think that will serve him very well. Because I think with all the other great attributes about him, if he sounds smart, I feel like they're going to get rid of him. So he needs to make sure that he plays up the fact that he really doesn't know what's going on.
Yeah, there were a couple things that worried me. One, first of all, he said questionable is one of the three adjectives he used to describe himself, which I'm not sure. I guess that it works perfectly because as soon as I read questionable as one of the three adjectives,
you
I
had
was
questions.
That's very concerning to me. I'm questioning that. He also says that when he's lying, people think he's telling the truth, but when he's telling the truth, people think he's lying. That tells me that he comes off as Sharky in real life to people, that people expect him to be playing some kind of angle, and if that's true in the house, if he comes off Sharky, then he's not going to be able to maintain this sort of surfer
I will say that in an effort to sound a little bit unthreatening, it does seem like his eyes dart around a little bit, which can come off a little bit shady to me, and so I feel like that would also raise red flags in the house.
Yeah, I think he's going to be fine though.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. He also he fell into a construction hole at 3 a.m. once and was stuck there for half an hour.
Accident prone. We talked about this a little bit the other day.
Yeah.
Right. I mean that he falls into holes, that he falls off of things. He's basically a medical evacuation waiting to happen.
And we need to give a trigger warning for Lita, because this is one of Lita's greatest fears in life, actually, is falling down one of these holes. She can't even walk over like sewer grates.
Well, forget falling in a hole. He got bit in the face by a fish at the Great Barrier Reef.
Yeah, that's not a good look.
Yeah. Also a champion bowler.
Face by a fish.
Oh, Taran, I didn't even know that when he fell into the hole at 3 a.m., he was actually stuck there for 30 minutes.
Yeah.
So that's not good.
Yeah. And he also fell off a slide, which I have also fallen off a slide. I can relate to that. Slides are hard.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. This is the guy who died almost.
Yes, he died kinda.
And he wants an unlimited supply of quinoa. Taran, is that good prep for slop?
Quinoa's not great, so
It's pretty
sure.
close. It's pretty close. Yeah. Okay. All right. So we think he can win. Does he have all-star potential, Taran?
Yes, I do think so.
Yes. Yes and yes for me.
Okay. All right. Yeah. America does tend to like this guy. So we'll see what happens with Tyler. And then we have one more bro to talk about here today. And Brent, let's talk about Winston.
Let's talk about Winston. I mean, honey, this is my guy. I mean, you thought that Brett was my guy, but Winston was serving it to me in his interview with Ross, and I was very taken by him. I mean, like, he was presentable, and he was charming and masculine, but not overly masculine. He was alpha, but not overly alpha. Like, I was on board with what Winston was giving me. And the funny part is that he's not really a fan of the show. He seems like he was like watching last season and got really irritated with the people in the house who were minions of Paul. Like, he's a big fan of
like
Cody.
JC's minions?
Yeah, not the same.
It was kind of if Paul is the JC.
Yeah, right. I know,
There's a Photoshop on the way already.
No, don't do it.
I think that he's a fan of Cody from last season, and he seemingly occupies the Cody spot. But Taran, I think he has a lot more personality than Cody ever did, and I feel like that people will be charmed by him.
All right, so we're gonna come full circle here, Taran. Let me ask you the question I asked you to open this show. Are you on the same page, or is Brent booty blinded again?
Brent is clearly booty blinded, but I think he's on points here.
Okay.
I am very high on Winston. I don't think he's very much like Cody at all, though. I feel like, if anything, if you watched Big Brother Canada 6, I feel like he is kind of like a Derek who knows the show, who actually watched and knows a lot more of the show. Especially like when I read his bio, it reminded me so much of Derek from Big Brother Canada, because it felt like it was a dating profile. He was like, I have a record player. I love my dog. So I write love notes to my dog. We go on late night walks together on the beach.
Is this the app that developed?
Yeah, I volunteered for Big Brothers Big Sisters. I get mistaken for Justin Timberlake and Ryan Reynolds. Like, this is a dating profile.
Yeah, but when he was talking with Brian at the Hollywood Reporter, he was very much about, you know what, I'm here for the money. When he was talking to Ross, he was like, I'm here for the money. So he's got his eagle eye on the money. There's no other reason to come on the show other than the money. And then they get to the part about, well, are you here? Could you be here for a showmance? And he gives the typical, well, if something happens, I mean, I don't want to give up the money for some girl, but I am a red-blooded American male, and so same old. But I was more on board with this. By the way, Rob, his favorite catchphrase is "bangarang," which I know you can appreciate.
Which is from the movie Hook, according to Winston.
I had no idea. I thought Rocket Dave just made that up.
Yeah, I thought he made that. I never heard anybody else say that.
I've never heard that before.
Well, I like how you guys are, we know the reference. Meanwhile, I'm apparently the only one that's watched Hook.
You're a big Hook fan, Taran?
It came out when I was a kid. What am I going to do?
Okay. Yeah, I forgot. Yeah. So they say bangarang on Hook.
Yeah, that's like that thing that they say.
Not
what are they called? The kids.
He said it came out when he was in high school.
Well, he's too in high school. He's only 2 years older than me. I was definitely very young when Hook came out.
Yeah.
Maybe it was like 9th grade and 6th grade or something. So
Hook came out in 1991. That was a year before my birth. So definitely did not come out in high school.
God, I hate you. Go to hell.
Okay. All right. So let me go back to Winston, because I didn't love Winston as much as
Really?
you did,
Why?
Brian, or maybe even as much as Taran did. First off,
Okay.
I don't like that he's Winston the Whisperer. He talks so soft that all
did bug
these,
me.
things are like, yeah, so I'm gonna go in the house and I'm gonna like Winston, please put on your microphone. Can't hear you.
Yeah. Well, Taran, was this the guy who worried about being too domineering and too much of a personality in the house? And I'm like, you're not gonna have a problem with that with these people.
Yeah.
Like,
Stop
it's
whispering.
not gonna be a worry.
He does say that he wants to be a little more low key than usual than his normal personality. He's tone it down
I'm
a little
like,
bit.
no, that's not a good
He's a
idea.
low talker. That's right, Nowhere Man in the chat. And then also this picture is creeps me out. Now I'm one to take many an awkward photo, but why
Yeah, I don't
he's
like
like Harvey Dent here, that he's got like one half of his face is like a big smile and the other half of his face is like trying not to smile, Brent.
It looks like
Explain that.
I'm just being real with you. It looks like a Photoshop because his eyes are very much like his eyes are not looking in the same direction. Like I think they did something weird with this photo. Like it's not.
You think they
he's
took two halves of his face and put them together?
They did something. It's evident to
No.
me because this is a terrible picture of him.
Okay, you guys need to watch. There's a video that was posted by a radio station, WYMT from Kentucky. They had an extended interview with him where they did not edit the video at all. So there's lots of like, there's a section at the end that's just like, oh, now we're filming B-roll. So hold this thing up and smile for us and turn around, and you're just seeing it without any volume. You need to watch this. It is incredibly awkward, and that is just how he smiles when he's fake smiling.
Okay. Sorry. What was that again? I'm gonna look it up.
You can find it was posted on Reddit. It's WYMT was the radio station, and it just skipped to the end where it's so. I felt so bad for him because I was like, this is just so awkward that they're just making him like he's like. And then you can see the smile slowly fade, and they're like, "Okay, could you say the radio station one more time, but smile at the end?" And he's like, "Because first he was like WYMT. Like, can you smile?" He's like WYMT.
Yeah. Oh. Melissa Bot says maybe too much Botox, Brent.
I mean, I don't know. He's from Kentucky and he lives in Kentucky. So I mean, then again, I live in Kentucky and I've had Botox, but I mean, like, man, but I'm me. I mean, like, come on. So this guy, I think that's unlikely. He's 20 years old, for God's sake. Like, come on. There's no way. It wasn't that bad. It just like in comparison to everybody else, it was a little bit hard to hear. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I thought he was kind of basic to me, Brent.
I mean, he has the potential. I'll say that, but I think he also has the potential to be fun. I take what Taran says with a grain of truth, I guess. That if he's an underdog, I think like he's going to be very well liked early on. But if he's in a position of power, that the fans probably won't get on board, and I'll probably be here 2 weeks from now going, "Man, I can't stand this guy. Get rid of him." So
yeah. In terms of his knowledge of the game, he says he fell in love with the show last summer. He has since binge watched 6 seasons, including Big Brother 2, All Stars, and Big Brother 10. He says he loves Big Brother 10. That's his favorite season. He thinks Dan is amazing. So he is probably going to model his game after Dan Giesling. He says the best alliances are the ones that go unseen. He is fairly anti-showmance. He also says he'll be bad at endurance. I think he'll be not great at competitions in general, to be honest, because it did take him a couple times to say the right words in the right order at the end of that radio station interview. So I feel very good about him. I think his social game is going to be really good. I think that he knows enough of the game that he's going to have a pretty good strategic game as well. And he's hopefully not going to be winning too many competitions to put too much of a target on his back. So I feel very good about his game chances. Is he going to be a big personality? I doubt it.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
I'm going to go with Taran on this one as well. I think that he can win the game. And I think that, given the fact that he's only been a fan for a year, I mean, there's a lot of people in this cast that have probably only been a fan for a year. I have more confidence in his ability to understand the game and play to the twists and whatever things are coming down the pike than many other people in this cast. So I feel relatively confident about him. I don't know that I would say he's a potential winner in my book, but I think he can win. But I don't believe that he's going to be an all-star. I think it would take a really special scenario, sort of like what Cody had last year, where for people to get on board with this guy. Otherwise, he's just going to be seen as a typical kind of straight alpha. Did I freeze again?
No, I think Rob is frozen.
Oh no, Rob is frozen.
What do we do? I mean, hopefully Rob is able to come back soon. Rob,
are you there?
Yes.
Okay, there we go.
Okay. Froze.
Sorry about that. Taran, what do we make of his pregame reading material that he is reading The Undercover Edge by Derek Levasseur?
Yes, he brought it with him to sequester so that he could read it. I mean, honestly, I feel like if anything, this would be if he takes any kind of Derek advice, I feel like that's going to set people's radars off way more than if he's sort of like following more of the Dan archetype, because a lot less people know who Dan is. Everyone's going to be looking out for any kind of Derek strategy. So who knows? Derek tweeted
Summer
out like,
Steve 2018.
His and Steve are gonna
Summer Steve, Brent.
Yeah, right. I can see them hooking up. Actually, that would be interesting.
Him and Steve are gonna hook up.
All right. Boy, is the Derek Levasseur book good prep for Big Brother?
I can't imagine it's bad. I mean, I think that it could fill his head with too many ideas and too many ploys early on. Look, I mean, early on in Big Brother, you just don't want to be a douche. You don't want to get people riled up. You don't want people to hate you. I feel like that the game sort of, it sort of takes shape in the day 10 to day 30 area. That's where the game board is really set.
But is it about
just
Big Brother or is it about Derek's life outside of Big Brother?
Oh, I mean, I think it's mostly about Derek's life outside of Big Brother, but I'm sure there's a passage on. I haven't read the book, so I don't know, but I'm sure there's a passage on that most likely. But I can't imagine it's bad, Taran. Looking at these other jokers that are in the cast.
Yeah, I'm just waiting for Winston to come into the house wearing some kind of like beanie cap and fake glasses. All right, I'm ready. I'm ready to go.
Why didn't Derek ask me to write the foreword to this book, Taran?
Look, he just doesn't want his brand associated with Saggy C.
Saggy C. Saggy C would write one hell of a foreword. Wait till you see.
That's all I can think of now.
I heard it makes you try harder when you're Saggy C.
Yes. Okay. Let's check in with what you guys have to say. All right. I thought I had a question up. Sorry about that, Scott. Anyway, all right. Winston, you guys think he can win? I mean, I guess it's in the realm of possibility he can win.
Yeah, he can win. Bang-a-rang, man.
Yes. Okay. Let's see. Mr. Robot Taran, who has diary room star potential? Not freaking Winston.
I
Winston
feel like
the Whisperer.
Swaggy C more than anything. I feel like has diary room potential. He's gonna serve it to us. Hopefully in a rap. That would be really cool.
Swaggy C. I think Scotty could be good.
Scotty too hottie.
Yeah, that's probably it for the guys. I mean, who knows about JC? It could go either way.
Who knows? Okay. Steve Schultz says, wait, Taran Armstrong doesn't listen to T Swift, and a picture of Taylor Swift making the loser sign for Taran.
Oh no. Isn't that a song?
Sorry.
Right? Is that a song?
Is it? I don't know. Look, I never got into Taylor Swift. What do you want from me?
I didn't either. Don't worry. I'm not going to come
like Taylor Swift. Okay.
It's not that I don't like her. She probably makes perfectly fine music.
I know, right? I just don't know. I don't know her.
Yeah.
Kennedy says, does the fact that Steve believes he can pass as a mechanic prove that he wasn't the best undercover cop?
Right?
Yeah, that's possible.
He said he got taken up to the elite levels of policing where he was working in the mafia division. So, I mean, he's got to have some skills, but I don't have much confidence in him at this point. I can't remember who it was. Oh, Bill in the chat said that JC has Miss Vanjie upside. If you're a fan of RuPaul's Drag Race, there was a drag queen on who was cut in the first episode who became famous for naming herself Vanjie, and JC does give me Vanjie sort of appeal in that he's that big of a train wreck, and I could be here for that. So I'm so excited about the train wreckiness potential, Taran, of some of these people. That's what gives me joy, and I love the fact that this is sacrilegious for me to say on RHAP, okay? But I'm going to say it. After Big Brother Canada 6, where there were so many fans, and it was an interesting, fun season, and I got to analyze it with you and watch you analyze it hardcore, and still didn't get the ending that I wanted. I'm on board with a few recruits. That's what I'm saying. Just give me a few messy recruits, and I'm here for it.
Yeah, well, I don't think anybody's saying that that's a bad way to cast a season. I think the problem is when it's mostly recruits. I think that's the issue.
I
want some wild cards.
I feel like because normally I'm more for fans than recruits. I do think that the recruits that they have cast, the people that aren't huge fans that they have cast, are well cast. So like I think that fans are more likely to give you entertaining TV, but I do like these people who aren't necessarily super fans. Somebody like Winston, who I think is not super knowledgeable about the game, but he became kind of knowledgeable about the game. And people I just feel like there's a lot of potential for people to pick up on the game quickly. And I think that there's also a lot of people who are just very clearly there to wreak havoc, and that's fine. That's fine too. I think there's a few of them, but I don't see that many. I'm just gonna lie around and follow whoever says to jump, and I'll jump when they say that.
I think the best thing that Winston said in his interview, which we forgot to bring up, was he's like, I'm not here for followers. I'm not here for Instagram people or subscribers or things like that. I'm just here to win the money. And that, that was music to my ears, because I know that, maybe some of these people are recruits, but I don't care if you're a recruit as long as you're there to play the game. You're going to play hard, you're going to have fun, and you're going to, be messy and give me something. But if you're there, no offense, Elena, but I feel like Elena was just there to get Instagram followers last year, and that's why she didn't want to make a move. And because of
worked.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, we're still talking about her.
Yeah.
Well,
she just got 100 more followers.
Sure, whatever. I mean, the thing is, it stayed her hand in the game where she might have made a move against Paul, but she's like, well, I want to stay in the game longer to get followers, so I don't want to make that move, which of course is the exact wrong play.
Yeah. Look, I just seen her doing a retainer commercial on my Facebook feed, Brent. So
I know, right? Well, Jack brings up now? Yeah, I forgot about this. When she said last year, I quit my job, so I have to make jury. I mean, if one of them says that, I am just going to wring their necks. I really, really hope that people... Oh, yeah, gosh. Come on. I don't know. It just bugs me.
All right, let's do one more question. Mel Weiss, do you think production cares about the Minion video? I don't think so.
No. And that, again, it gives me hope.
Don't be worried about that.
My life is such a train wreck. I'm so hopeful after watching JC get cast. I'm so happy about it, Rob.
All right.
It's possible.
And then Andrew Ross says, which house guest will be the first to clash with Caitlyn for her loves of sage and positive energy? Taran, I will report that I have not one, but 2 listeners who have reached out who want to be Crystal correspondents. Brent, what are you holding up?
I'm showing you the sage that I have. Yes. Spray. Now, let me tell you, this is the sage and this is the bag. And you'll notice the bag, for those of you who are watching, there's a stone in the bag, and you put it out in the moonlight at night. I was given this, and I didn't even know about it, by 2 people, Debbie and Joyce, who are known as the Sage Sisters. And they are very big in the slot community. And I used this before the biggest jackpot of my career, $4,300. It happened a month or 2 ago, and they were there with me. So, I mean, it's causality, Taran. I mean, I used the sage and then I hit a jackpot, so it must be the sage,
I really want them to allow Caitlyn to have a sage spray bottle in the house so that in the middle of an argument, she can just whip it out and start spraying it in their face and being like, it's too negative. I got to save you.
Yeah, see, it's just a spray bottle. It's CC like that. There you go. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Taran, in all of your many interviews with the Big Brother Canada 6, did we ever get into the Johnny being a warlock stuff?
No.
That's what Brent should have come on and asked Johnny about. Like, I want to know about being a Wiccan.
That should have come up. How did that not come up? That's because they ended that season badly and Johnny was never on it. That's how.
Well, but that's part of the thing. He never talked about it in the house, like, which is, it's certainly a possibility that one of these people that is a crystal person, maybe they don't talk about this in the house. That said, like in Johnny's preseason interviews, he was like, "Yeah, I don't really talk about that, but I can answer your questions."
Evil Dick is currently my favorite player of. Yes.
Yeah.
I'm talking about this now, but I'm just trying to get on the show.
Yeah.
Right.
And by the way, I think JC, to answer the question, is the person most likely to clash with Angie and Caitlyn, given his various anti-anything beliefs.
Okay. He's all over the place. All right.
Yeah.
So, all right. Normally at the end of the show, I would tell you about what's coming up and how you could be a patron of Robin's podcast. But tonight, I'm going to tell you about something that I announced today. I'm very excited about that. I have been working the last couple of months on creating an online course to teach people how to use Patreon for content creators who have a following, have a community, but are having difficulties with monetization. And I've got an online course all about how to create meaningful monetization and build a better relationship with your audience using Patreon. If you'd like to find out more about that, we're going to be doing a online webinar sometime next week, myself and Angie Kantz, a couple times over the course of the summer. You can go to patreonlikeapro.com for more information on that. Patreonlikeapro.com for more information on that. I posted a video about it on my Twitter as well today. So if you are a content creator or are a fan of a content creator who might be interested in something like this, definitely worth a shot. But again, it is really designed for people who are currently creating content and then are looking to figure out ways in which, like I was able to do some 5 years ago, go from doing my podcast as a hobby to making it my full-time career here in 2018 in the summer of Steve.
Yes.
Very cool. I like that idea, Rob.
Yes.
I said earlier on Twitter yesterday that you do such a good job putting out new and fun content. This is another interesting angle that's not for everybody, but for those people out there who are creators like myself, who enjoy putting things out into the universe and hoping that people like them. If you're looking for a way to monetize or to get monetization on your channel, especially with the way YouTube is nowadays, it's probably a good bet and something you should check out.
Yes. Okay. I could use some sage to spray on myself before I start this new venture. Okay.
Yeah. I need to take these courses, Rob.
Okay. All right. Well, whatever you guys want to know, that I got you guys. All right. All right. So that's gonna do it for us here tonight. We'll take a little bit of a break from the Big Brother, unless there is some sort of crazy breaking news. I'm sure we will have some sort of coverage. Should some major game twist or to say game mechanic, but I don't want people to think we're talking about Steve be revealed. And so we will have any coverage on that. Otherwise, we are scheduled to do our Big Brother 20 live draft coming up on next Monday night, the 25th, as we then will shift gears, just like Steve, into the 2-night premiere, Wednesday night and Thursday night coming up next week. And then, of course, the live feed updates will kick off next Friday. If you want to get your hands on the Big Brother live feeds, you could get a week for free. Go to robinswebsite.com/live feeds. All right. Anything else before we sign off tonight, guys?
The house is going to be revealed tomorrow night on Entertainment Tonight, apparently Noah says in the chat, so be on the lookout for that. And I'm hoping by next Monday we will know if there's any possible casting twist with vets or anything like that. I'm hoping that it will be self-evident by the draft on Monday so that we can know what we're talking about.
Yeah. The house reveal is always the least exciting thing for me.
Oh, really? I kind of like it.
Get pumped up like, oh my God, oh, there's this room. Oh my God, it's crazy. And it's like, what? Who cares? Who cares?
Yeah.
It's the same. There's never anything like, at least Big Brother Canada, they have in the past, built the season more around the theme of the house. But what was it? Big Brother 18 is like, oh, it's like an airport. It's like, oh, this is the different rooms around the world. I couldn't even tell you what the theme of the house was for Big Brother 19. Does anybody remember?
I forget.
Yeah.
Was there a theme? I don't know.
Didn't they have the sand in the bathroom?
Oh, yeah, Temptation. That's right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Temptation.
Yeah. Well, it could theoretically, like, if there's like an extra room in the house that's designed for 4 people, then that might tell us something.
Yeah, a secret room. We need a secret room. That's what
Yeah. Okay.
Very, very, very excited about the season, though, Rob. Very excited to be covering this. Very excited about the cast. I'm pumped. Woo!
Whoa! Woo! High energy Taran.
I know. Yes, I can co-sign that too, Taran. Somebody, a friend of mine, tweeted me and said that some people are saying that this cast is underwhelming, but I don't feel like that at all. I feel like that the men and the women have so much great, just crazy potential, and I don't mean in a necessarily good game way, but in an entertaining, fun way. Like, I'm on board with this season, and as long as they don't screw it up with some vet or somebody coming in and telling people what to do and what not to do and how to behave and because that's the best part. When people don't, like, if it's a cast of newbies, they don't know what to do, and so they make the same mistakes that other people have made long in the past, and that is what makes great live feeds and great television. But when you got somebody like Paul telling people what to do, what not to do, it totally neuters everything.
All right. We'll see what happens. More news to come as it breaks. We'll be here. Take care, everybody. Have a good one. Bye.